Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Jaya Radha Gopinath Radha, Gopinath Radhe, Jaya Jagannatha, Jaya Baladeva, Jaya Subhadra Mai, Jaya Sudarshana, Jaya Shri Gopal, Shri Gopal, Jaya Shri Gopal, Jaya Gauranitai, Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai, Jai Jai Prabhupada, Jai Jai Prabhupada, Jai Jai Gurudev, Gurudev, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. कलयुग पावन श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन महायज्ञ की जय, हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, श्रील गुरुदेव की जय, निताई गौर प्रेमानंदे, हरि हरि बोल. Hare Krishna, welcome all the devotees to today's Chaitanya Charitamrita session. We will start with Mangalacharan prayers.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Dandat Pranam.
Dandat Pranam. Mataji, Gopi Priya Mataji is still there or not there?
Not there.
Not there. Okay. Maybe some problem. She will join again. Please wait, Mataji. Anybody want to do some kirtan by that time? She joins. I'm trying to reach out to her. Can we do some kirtan by that time? Anybody wants to do? Sorry for the inconvenience. Yeah. Okay, I'll do. If nobody's there, please, you have to listen to me today. Okay. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hari Bol. Thank you for bearing with me. Gopi ji and Mataji is back here. Yeah. Mataji, you may continue, please. I'll make you the co-host.
Hare Krishna. Sorry, it was some internet issue.
Yeah, no problem, Mataji. Please
Hopefully,
continue.
we'll continue.
Yeah, I'll be there, Mataji. I'll wait back. Or if
Okay.
there is some issues, yeah.
No problem, Mataji. If you have any work, you can. No problem, Mataji. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll put it on and I'll be there around.
Okay. Okay. Somehow it's slow. Okay, so I completed the Mangala Charan as I was trying to join back. Let us everyone together dive into the nectar of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrit, Madhya Lila, chapter 20, shloka number 271. So somebody has the book already because it's taking time for my computer to on Veda base. If someone has the book, can you please start reading Bhagavad shloka number 271?
Yeah, Mataji, I'll just share in a moment so that you can continue.
Yeah, I got it, Mataji.
It-
It's starting.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. I had joined 10 minutes before only and was ready with everything. But then somehow we started late and then
Yeah.
I got disconnected. Anyways, Krishna has some plan.
Mhm.
So we start from 271, shloka number 271, right?
Yes, Mataji.
Madhya Lila, chapter 20. Yeah. Can I share, Mataji?
Yes, yes, Mataji. If possible, share. If it is your internet is giving problem, just let me know. I will continue with the sharing.
Got it. We are going to discuss about the external energy of the Lord. So we know how we have to take shelter of the internal energy. Then only external energy will not affect us. So today we are having so much problem with the internet. We should not depend on it, but use it for Krishna's service, right? So this is what Sanatan Goswami is getting the teaching from Lord Chaitanya about the creation and the Maya, the external energy of the Lord. So let us continue from text 271. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yat kripatamaham vande Shri Gurum Dinakaranam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Vishwan. Hare Krishna. Somebody would like to read text 271. Am I audible?
Yes, Mataji.
Okay. Yes, Mataji.
May I read, Mataji?
Yes, please go ahead, Mataji.
Maya Deva. Sorry, I forgot a tune.
Please raise your hand so that I know who is speaking. Yes, Lalita Mataji. Yes.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Maya Raye Dui Vritti Maya Ara Pradhana. That's the tune, Mataji.
Maya Raye Dui Vritti Maya Ara Pradhana Maya Nimita Hetu Vishwera Upadana Pradhana. Translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Maya has two functions. One is called Maya and the other is called Pradhana. Maya refers to the efficient cause and Pradhana refers to the ingredients that create the cosmic manifestation.
Yes, Hari Bol. Thank you, Mataji. So this explanation is further given. We have already covered it in Adi Leela, chapter 5, verse 58. And there, Prabhupada explains in the purport very much in detail about what is explained in this translation here. So Maya has two functions, and that one is that it is an efficient cause, whereas Pradhana refers to the ingredients that create the cosmic manifestation. For example, we can take the example of a potter and a potter's wheel. When a potter makes earthen pots, he uses potter's wheel. That wheel goes round. When it gets the speed, because of the speed and the potter's skill of making the giving shape to that mud, the pot is created. So the potter is compared to the Supreme Lord, who is making the wheel go round. And what is that wheel? That is Maya. And what is the mud? The mud is the ingredients which are required for creating this cosmic manifestation. So even though one may think that the wheel is making the pot, actually who is behind the wheel? Who is making the wheel go round? The potter. So Maya here refers to the efficient cause. Efficient cause means immediate cause, which we can see that the wheel is going round. So Maya, although she is the efficient cause or immediate cause, Pradhan refers to the ingredients, the things which are required to create different manifestations, whereas the Lord is the controller of both. So I was thinking of going more into detail, but since we have started little late, we'll go further. I hope the analogy has made it little clear. And then we will go into more explanation about Maya, that Sanatan Goswami is getting the teaching from Lord Chaitanya here. If we have any questions, we will take in the end. Okay. Shobha Mataji, 272.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Hari Bol. से ये पुरुष माया पाने करे अवधाना प्रकृति शोभित कारी कार्य भी वीर्येर आधाना. Translation by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. When the Supreme Personality of Godhead glances over the material energy, she becomes agitated. At that time, the Lord injects the original semens of the living entities. Should I read the purport, Mataji?
Yes, Mataji. Very beautiful purport. Please, everyone, listen carefully.
Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. In the Bhagavad Gita 7.10, Krishna says, Bijam Mam Sarva Bhutanam. I am the original seed of all existence. This is also confirmed in another verse in the Bhagavad Gita 14.4. Sarva Yonishu Kaunteya Murthaya Sambhava Bhantiyaha Tasham Brahma Mahatyoni Aham Bija Pradapitaha. It should be understood that all the species of life, O son of Kunti, are made possible by birth in this material nature, and that I am the seed-giving father. For the further explanation, one may refer to the Brahma Samhita, chapter 5, verse 10.13, 10 to 13. Brahma Samhita also states 5.51. Agni Mahi Gaganam Ambu Maruta Dishascha Kala Tatha मनास्थिति जगत्त्रयानि यस्मात् भवन्ति विभवन्ति विशान्तियां च गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि. All material elements as well as the spiritual sparks, individual souls, are emanating from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is confirmed by the Vedanta Sutra 1.1. Janmadiyasya yatah, the absolute truth. He from whom everything emanates. He is the supreme truth. Satyam Param Dhimahi. Bhagavat 1.1.1. The absolute ultimate truth is Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Janmadi Yasya Yato Anvayat Hitarata Chartesva Abhidnya Swarat. The absolute truth is the person who is directly and indirectly cognizant of the entire cosmic manifestation. Bhagavatam 1.1.1. The absolute truth, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, educated Lord Brahma from the heart. Bhagavatam 1.1.1. Tene Brahma Hridayati Kavaye. Therefore, the absolute truth cannot be dull matter. The absolute truth must be the Supreme Person Himself. Sei Purusha Maya Pane Kare Avadhana. Simply by his glance, material nature is impregnated with all living entities according to their karma and fruitive activity. They emerge in different bodies. That is the explanation given by the Bhagavad Gita 2.13. Dehinosmin yata dehe kaumaram yavanam jara tata dehantara prapti dhira tatrana muhyati. As the embodied soul continuously passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. A sober person is not bewildered by such a change. Haribol Dandavat Pranam Mataji. Thank you
Hare
for
Krishna.
all the
Thank you.
mistakes I did. Thank you.
No. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you so much. This verse explains how the Supreme Personality of Godhead, only by glancing over this Maya, this material energy, he agitates. Just like we talked about the potter's wheel, at least the potter has to move the wheel with the stick, with his hand. But the Lord is so powerful, just by his glance over the material energy, he makes it work. And the pradhana or the ingredients, they become agitated. And thus, through his glance, which includes time and the swabhava of the living entities and karma, these three constitute his glance, which is explained in the first canto. And then this agitation creates the further manifestation. So here, what is explained here is the Lord is the Pita. Just like the Pita or the father gives the seed to the mother in her womb. So this, the Lord injects the original semen, which is the aggregate of all living entities. They are injected into the womb of this material nature. And Prabhupada gives the example from the Bhagavad Gita and from Brahma Samhita, how the Lord is the seed-giving father, the original seed-giving father. And the logic is, if he gave the knowledge from the heart of Lord Brahma at the beginning of creation, obviously he cannot be a dull matter. He is a person, but he is the supreme person. And that also is supported by the Shastra from Bhagavatam, how he is a person. And just like living entities take different bodies, like dehinosmin yatha dehe, from one body, within the same body we have different stages, the body keeps changing. But a sober person is not bewildered by such a change. According to our karma and desire, we get different bodies. But the Lord, he is only facilitating that changing of body. It is not that he, by his own will, creates the material world. He only facilitates the living entities to fulfill their desires according to their fruitive activity. So this is to be understood from this verse, that the Lord is the seed-giving father. He glances over the material energy, which becomes agitated, and the Lord injects the original living entities, which is the original semen, and thus the living entities, according to their desire and karma, come into the material manifestation. Then text 273, Chandana Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Swangaviseshabhasa rupe prakriti sparshana jiva rupa bijatate kaila samarpana. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. To impregnate with the seeds of the living entities, the Lord himself does not directly touch the material energy, but by his specific functional expansions, he touches the material energy and thus the living entities who are his parts and parcels are impregnated into material nature.
Yes.
And
Purport. Yes.
purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. According to Lord Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita 15.7, Mamai Vamsho Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatanaha Manashasthani Indriyani Prakritisthani Karshati. The living entities in this conditioned world are my eternal fragments. Due to the conditioned life, they are struggling very hard with the six senses, which include the mind. In the present verse of the Chaitanya Chaitamrita, the word Prakriti Sparshana refers to the Lord's glancing over material nature and placing the living entities in contact with dull matter. The glancing is performed by Mahavishnu. Sa aikshata lokam nustrija iti. Aitreya Upanishad 1.1.1. In the conditioned stage, we impregnate according to the bodily conception, that is by sexual intercourse, but the Supreme Lord does not need sexual intercourse to impregnate. The impregnation is performed simply by his glance. This is also explained in the Brahma Samhita 5.32. Angani yasya sakalendriyavrittimanti पश्यांति पान्ति कलयांति चिरां जगन्ति आनन्दचिन्मय सदुज्ज्वल विग्रहस्य गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि. Govinda can impregnate simply by glancing. In other words, his eyes can work as his genitals. He does not need genitals to beget a child. Indeed, Krishna can beget any one of the following entities with any part of his body. The word Swanga Visheshabhasa Rupe, indicating the form by which the Lord begets living entities in the material world, is explained herein. He is Lord Shiva. In the Brahma Samhita, it is stated that Lord Shiva, who is another form of Mahavishnu, is like yogurt. Yogurt is nothing but milk, yet it is not milk. Similarly, Lord Shiva is considered the father of the universe, and the material nature is considered the mother. The father and mother are known as Lord Shiva and Goddess Durga. Together, Lord Shiva's genitals and the vagina of Goddess Durga are worshipped as the Shivalinga. This is the origin of the material creation. Thus, Lord Shiva's position is between that of the living entity and that of the Supreme Lord. In other words, Lord Shiva is neither the Supreme Personality of Godhead nor a living entity. He is the form through which the Supreme Lord works to beget living entities within the material world. As yogurt is prepared when milk is mixed with a culture, the form of Lord Shiva expands when the Supreme Personality of Godhead is in touch with material nature. The impregnation of material nature by the Father, Lord Shiva, is wonderful because at one time innumerable living entities are conceived. Bhago Jiva Sa Vigneya Sa Chanantyaya Kalpate, Svetashvatara Upanishad 5.9. These living entities are very, very small. Keshagra शतभागस्य शातांश सदृशात्मकः जीवसूक्ष्म स्वरूपोऽयं सांख्यातीतो हि चित्कणः. If we divide the tip of a hair into 100 parts, then take one of these parts and divide it again into 100 parts. That very fine division is the size of but one of the numberless living entities. They are called Chitkana, particles of spirit, not matter. The innumerable Brahmandas or universes come from the pores of the Lord's body, and the innumerable living entities also come from the pores of the transcendental body of the Lord. This is the process of material creation. Without the living entities, this material nature has no value. Both emanate from the pores of the transcendental body of Lord Mahavishnu. They are different energies. The material nature is explained as follows by Lord Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita 7.4. Bhumirapo nalo vayu kammano buddhireva cha ahankara iti yamme bhinna prakritirashtada. Earth, water, fire, air, mind, either intelligence and false ego. Altogether, these 8 constitute my separated material energies. Thus, the material elements also come from the body of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but they are a different type of energy from the living entities. Although the living entities also come from the Lord's body, they are categorized as a superior energy. अपर्येयं नितस्त्वन्यं प्रकृतिर्विद्धि मे परां जीवभूतां महाबाहो ययेधं धार्यते जगत्. Besides this inferior nature, O mighty armed Arjuna, there is another superior energy of mind, which comprises the living entities who are exploiting the resources of this material inferior energy. Bhagavad Gita 7.5. The inferior energy matter cannot act without the superior energy. All these things are very clearly explained in the Vedas. The materialistic theory that life develops from matter is incorrect. Life and matter come from the supreme living entity. Therefore, being the source of both, that supreme living entity Krishna is described in the Vedanta Sutra as Janmadhyasya Yataha 1.1, or the original source of everything, Sarva Karana Karanam. This is further explained in the following verse. Thank you, Mataji. Very long purport.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much. Very important points. 3 points explained in this verse. First point is that the Lord's senses are absolute. They are not like material senses. They are not material. They are completely spiritual. Why? Because any part of his body, any limb of the Lord's body can carry out any function, right? We have no experience like this in this material world, because everything in this material world that we see around is made of matter. And the living entity, when he has to create or give birth or inject semen, it has to be done through the bodily concept of life only, by the physical act of sexual intercourse. But herein it is explained that the Lord only glances over the Prakriti, and through his glance, through his drishti matra, just by his drishti or his glance, he impregnates material nature, which is the mother. And that glance is considered as Lord Shiva, which is the Lord himself in the form of Lord Shiva. So the Lord Vishnu, or Karanodakshai Vishnu, or Mahavishnu, is the expansion, plenary expansion of Lord Krishna, who takes the form of Lord Shiva in order to impregnate the material nature. So Lord Shiva's position is also explained here. Lord Shiva is in between Lord Krishna or Vishnu and the Jivas. So Shiva Tattva is in between. It is neither Vishnu Tattva nor Jiva Tattva. It is Shiva Tattva. So even though Lord Shiva is non-different from the Supreme Lord Vishnu, at the same time, he is not Lord Vishnu. So there is a beautiful relationship of the Lord with the material nature. Lord Shiva becomes the father of the material nature, the father of the living entities, and Mother Durga becomes the mother of the living entities within this material world. Now, third point is, even though the universes, innumerable universes, come from the body of Mahavishnu, even the living entities come from the body of Mahavishnu, and even material energy comes from the body of Mahavishnu. Out of these 3, spirit souls or the jivas are not material. They are superior energy of the Lord. Apareyam itastvanyam. Right? And why? Because the Lord says in the Bhagavad Gita, Mamaivamsho jiva loke jiva bhutaha sanatanaha. That these living entities are my eternal fragmental parts. But due to conditioned life, they are struggling very hard with the six senses, which includes the mind. Only due to the mind, there is transmigration of the soul, but the soul is the superior energy. It is not matter. So these 3 points, very important. First is Lord Vishnu, Mahavishnu glances over the material nature. Secondly, Lord Shiva is the father of the living entities. Durga or material energy is the mother. And third, the soul is superior energy. It is not matter. And being the source of both life and matter, Krishna is described in the Vedanta Sutra as Janmadi Asya Yataha, that he is the original source of everything. Sarva Karana Karanam. I want to ask one question here. Why is it that we are reading in so much detail about
Mataji, can you please
creation?
speak loud? Can't hear properly.
Why is it that so much in detail the creation is explained by the Lord? Can anybody think? Can anybody tell? Because we can just, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu could have just explained the pastimes, the Leelas of the Lord. Why do we have to learn the creation, which is so intricate and so difficult to understand? How will we develop love for the Lord by hearing about creation?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes, Prabhu.
Maybe we have forgotten the relationship between the Supreme Lord and ourselves. To maintain that, if we remember that, and if we know the glories of the Supreme Lord, then we can able to know the though we are all the part and parcel of Sri Krishna, and it will develop to best relationship with him. Then we can able to continue in the devotional service. I am thinking like that, Mataji.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you. Thank you. Very nice. Anybody else? Prabhu has given a very apt answer, and that is how we develop attraction for the Supreme Lord by knowing about how great he is. The greatness of the Lord, or the Aishwarya of the Lord, when we understand who is this personality, this person is the controller, enjoyer, maintainer of all the creation, both spiritual and material, and this person is performing these pastimes. Then the Madhurya pastimes are appreciated by the jivas. Why? Because right now we are in this material world and we have forgotten that eternal relationship with him. All we see is matter around us. So when we see that matter, and when we have to tap, or the Lord has to tap our intelligence, our souls, then he taps them with the matter, with the creation which is made, which is matter or which is material. So we can appreciate the matter which is seen around us, how it is created, who has created, how great he is, and then we appreciate his sweetness. So greatness first and then sweetness. Aishwarya, then Madhurya. So very, very important. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami explains in the first chapter of Adi Lila itself that we should not be lazy in studying the philosophy, because it is very difficult for the material mind to grasp the philosophy. Very easy. We like to hear pastimes. But when we hear the philosophy, then our mind becomes very strong to follow up the process of Krishna consciousness. So very important that we learn about the creation and appreciate how great is that person whom we are serving, whom we are trying to serve, and develop love for. So text 274. Somebody would like to read? Somebody had raised the hand. I think Padma Mataji.
Srimad Bhagavatam. I cannot.
Okay,
Bhagavatam.
no problem. Krishnamurti Prabhu, you would like to read?
It is little bit difficult for me, Mataji. I will
No
try
problem.
my best.
Should I say the first line? You want to repeat?
Please, Mataji.
Daivat kshubita dharminyam
Daivat Shubhita Dharmeyam Swashyam Yonur Purah Punam Adatta
param puman
Parah Puman Adatta Viryam Sasuta Mahat Tattvam Hiranmayam.
Very good. Thank you, Prabhudev.
Translation by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada ki jai. At a time beyond memory, after agitating the material nature into three qualities, the Supreme Personality of Godhead placed the semen of innumerable living entities within the womb of that material nature. Thus, material nature gave birth to the total material energy, known as the Hiranyamahat Tattva, the original symbolic representation of the cosmic manifestation. Shall I read purport, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhu, please.
Purport by A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Prabhupada ki jai. This is a quotation from Srimad Bhagavatam 3.26.19. Lord Kapila is explaining to his mother the relationship between the Supreme Personality of Godhead and material nature. He is informing her how the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the original cause of the living entities who are conditioned by material nature. Over and above the 28 elements of the material creation is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the cause of all causes. Life comes not from matter but from life itself. As explained in the Vedas, Nityo Nityam Chaitanas Chaitanam. Katha Upanishad 2.2.13. The Supreme Lord is the original source of life. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. So, very, very important to note that the Lord is the supreme source of life, because many scientists are trying to find out and they say that life comes from matter. But there is no evidence that any material thing can create any material living entity, right? So life comes from life. And the original source of all life is the Supreme Lord, which is explained by Lord Kapila himself to his mother. Even though Lord Kapila is explaining the Sankhya philosophy, which explains the analytical study of all the elements, 28 elements of material creation, he tells that above the material elements is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the cause of all causes. And together, the Mahat Tattva, the material energy, is called Hiranmaya. Hiranmaya means all the aggregate of all the living entities and the material energy. They are the original symbolic representation of the cosmic manifestation. So, text 275, Uma Mataji.
I'll read now, Mataji. I'll read now.
Yes.
Kalavritya tu mayayam gunamayam adhokshaja purushenatma bhutena virjam adhata viryaman. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. In due course of time, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Maha Vaikunthanatha, by the agency of a further expansion of his personal self, Mahavishnu, placed the seed of the living entities within the womb of material nature. Purport, I'll read, Mataji? Purport?
Yes, Mataji. Yes, please.
This is a quotation from Srimad Bhagavatam 3.5.26. This verse tells how the living entities come in contact with material nature. Just as a woman cannot beget children without uniting with a man, material nature cannot beget living entities without being in union with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There is a history of how the Absolute Lord becomes the father of all entities. In every system of religion, it is accepted that God is the Supreme Father of all living entities. According to Christianity, the Supreme Father, God, provides the living entities with all of life's necessities. Therefore, they pray, "Give us this day our daily bread." Any religion that does not accept the Supreme Lord as the Absolute Father is called Kaitava Dharma, or a cheating religion. Such religious systems are rejected in Srimad Bhagavatam 1.1.2. Dharma prayojita Kaitavo Atra. Kaitavo Atra. Only an atheist does not accept the omnipotent Supreme Father. If one accepts the omnipotent Supreme Father, he abides by his orders and becomes a religious person. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. So in any religion, there is a concept of Father, Supreme Father. And one who abides by his rules is religious person. And one who does not is an atheist. So here, different quotations we can see from Srimad Bhagavatam, how the Lord is the Supreme Father and he injects the living entities into the womb of the material nature. Now, in further verses, we will see how the Lord, having created the universes and having impregnated the material nature, what happens next? Okay, 276. Uma Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Tabe mahatatva hete trividat ahankara yaha hete devatendriya bhutera prachara. Translation by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. For the total material energy is manifested, and from this arise the three types of egotism, which are the original sources from which all demigods, controlling deities, senses, and material elements expand.
Yes, purport.
Shall I read purport?
Yes.
Purport. The three types of egotism, ahankara, are technically known as Vaikarika, Tejasa, and Tamasa. The Mahat Tattva is situated within the heart or Chitta, and the predominating deity of the Mahat Tattva is Lord Vasudeva. Bhagavatam 3.26-21. The Mahat Tattva is transformed into the three divisions: Vaikarika, egotism in goodness; Satvika, Ahankara, from which is manifested in the 11th sense organ. The mind, whose predominating deity is Aniruddha. 2. Tejasa, or egotism in passion, Rajasa, Ahankara, from which all manifested the active knowledge acquiring his senses, along with the intelligence, whose predominating deity is Lord Pradyumna. And 3. Tamasa, or egotism in ignorance, from which sound vibration, Shabda Tanmantra, expands. From sound vibration, the sky, Akasha, is manifested, and then the senses, beginning with the sense of hearing, are also manifested. Of these three types of egotism, Lord Sankarsana is the predominating deity. In the philosophical discourse known as the Sankhya Karika, it is stated Satvika Eka Dashaka Pravartate Vaikrat Ahankarat Bhutadi Tan Mantram Tamasa Tejasadi Uddayam.
Ubhayam. Yes, thank you.
Ubhayam.
Thank you, Mataji.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
So this study of the material elements, namely Sankhya Yoga, is explained in the 3rd canto of Srimad Bhagavatam by Lord Kapila. So basically, to say it simply, in simple words, the first total material energy, which is agitated by the glance of Mahavishnu, what arises first from that agitation? Ahankar. That Ahankar is of 3 types: Sattvic, Rajasic, Tamasic. Yeah, easy to understand. Let us forget about those names. Sattvic means goodness, Rajasic is passion, and Tamasic is ignorance. So each Ahankara, Sattvic, Rajasic, and Tamasic, has a predominant deity. Aniruddha, then Pradyumna, and Sankarshana. So these three predominant deities, they control that particular ahankara. Now from Sattvic ahankara, what comes out? The mind comes from Sattvic ahankara. And the predominating deity is Aniruddha. From Rajasic ahankara, Taijasa, what comes out? The sense organs. That is the knowledge acquiring senses and the working senses. So the 10 senses come along with intelligence. And the predominating deity is Lord Pradyumna. Then from ignorance, Tamasa ahankara, what comes? The tanmatras, which are the sense objects. Which are the sense objects? Touch, sight, hearing, and that is sound. Touch, sight, sound, smell, and taste. So these are the 5 tanmatras. The 5 sense objects come from ignorance or the tamasic ahankara. And the predominating deity is Lord Sankarshana. So in the philosophical discourse known as Sankhya Karika, these things are explained. Okay. So basic to understand, simple thing to understand from the agitation, first thing comes out is ahankara, which is of 3 types: goodness, passion, ignorance. From goodness comes the mind. From passion comes the intelligence and the senses. And from ignorance, ahankara, comes the tanmatras or sense objects. So text 277 describes what happens next. Shobha Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Dandavad Pranam Mataji. Am I audible?
Yes, Mataji.
Sarva tattva nidishrijila brahmate mamantra tera ghana ananta brahmanda tara nahika ganana. Translation by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Combining all the different elements, the Supreme Lord created all the universes. Those universes are unlimited in number. There is no possibility of counting them. Hari Bol, Dandavad Pranam Mataji.
Haribo. So innumerable universes are coming out from the body of Lord Mahavishnu, who is only a plenary expansion of Lord Krishna. Yes, Navakishori Mataji, would you like to read? Anybody else would like to read?
Hare Krishna
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna Mataji.
Yes.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Inno Mahat Shrasta Purusha. Please, metro meter Mataji. Hello.
Yes, Mataji. Can you see?
Yes. Inno Mahasrasta Purusha Mahavishnu Nama Ananta Brahmanda Tanra Loma Kupe Dhama. Translation by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The first form of Lord Vishnu is called Mahavishnu. He is the original creator of the total material energy. The innumerable universes emanate from the force of his body. Hare Krishna.
Thanks, Mataji. Next verse, 279 and 280.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Can I read?
Yes, Prabhu, please.
Hare Krishna. Gavakshe Udiya Yaiche Renu Ashaye Yaya Purusha Nishvasa Saha Brahmanda Bahiraya Punarapi Nishvasa Saha Yaya Abhyantara Ananta Aishwarya Tandra Sabha Maya Para. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. These universes are understood to be floating in the air that Mahavishnu exhales. They are like atomic particles that float in sunshine and pass through the holes of a screen. All these universes are thus created by exhalation of Mahavishnu, and when Mahavishnu inhales, they re-enter his body. The unlimited opulences of Mahavishnu are completely beyond material conception. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So just like we have the experience here in our day-to-day life, when there is a hole in the window, or from the window, when the sunlight comes, we can see the innumerable particles, right? And that is the molecule particles, which consists of 3 atoms. And that is the smallest particle that we can visibly see with our material eyes, right? So these universes are like atomic particles that float in sunshine and pass through the holes of a screen. All these universes are thus created by the exhalation of Mahavishnu. They are so innumerable that we can not count by material calculation. 281.
Hare Krishna Mataji, shall I?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Eikanisvasita Kalavata Atavalamya Jivanti Loma Vilaja Jagadandanata Vishnur Mahansa Ihayasya Kalavishesho Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Translation. Shall I read translation, Mataji?
Yes, yes, please. And purport also.
The Brahmas and other lords of mundane worlds appear from the ports of Mahavishnu and remain alive for the duration of his one exhalation. I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, of whom Mahavishnu is a portion of plenary portion. Purport. This is a quotation from Brahma Samhita 5.48. For an explanation, refer Adi Lila chapter 5, verse 71. Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. So this Brahma, although he appears from Lord Mahavishnu's body, he remains only for the duration of one exhalation. Brahma is also not eternal. He only appears and stays up to the exhalation of Mahavishnu. And when Mahavishnu inhales, all the universes go within him along with Lord Brahma. So it is explained in Adi Lila, chapter 5, verse 71. Now, where is Mahavishnu lying down? That is explained. So everything in detail is explained in Chaitanya Charitamrita by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Srila Sanatana Goswami. And this, the reference is given from Srimad Bhagavatam and Brahma Samhita. Yes. Next. Last verse for today.
Read Mataji.
Yes, Mata, please go ahead.
Samasta Brahmanda Ganera Ino Antaryami Karanabhidishyai Sabha Jagater Swami. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Mahavishnu is the super soul of all the universes. Lying on the causal ocean, he is the master of all material worlds. Thank you, Mataji. Haribol.
Haribol, thank you. So how is he super soul of all the universes? Because he is
the creator.
The creator, and also he is the one who is existing at the beginning of creation, right? And that is how he is beyond the creation. So he is the super soul of all the aggregate of universes. And this explains the tattva of Mahavishnu. So this is the last verse which I will read, 283. Aita kahilun prathama purushera tattva dvitiya purushera ebe shunaha mahatva. That is translation. I have thus explained the truth of the first personality of Godhead, Mahavishnu. I shall now explain the glories of the second personality of Godhead. So in the next class on Monday, we will see about the second Purusha. So the first Purusha is Mahavishnu. And that is the explanation given by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself. So Mahavishnu is only the portion of the plenary portion of Lord Krishna. So we'll stop here. Anyone has any comments, any questions, they can please add.
I have a question. Madhya, what is the difference between Mahat Tattva and Pradhana?
Yeah, very good question, Prabhuji. Mahat Tattva is the material aggregate of the whole material energy, right? Which has all the ingredients and the causal energy and the ingredients. That is the whole material ingredients. And Pradhana is the same thing which is in a dormant state. Just like, I'll give the example. We want to make one recipe for offering to Lord Jagannath. And we have all the ingredients in the kitchen. There is some atta, there is some oil, there is some sugar, butter, and some vegetables are there. All the things, ingredients are accumulated and kept in the kitchen. That is like pradhana. It is sitting there, but it is not in the process of cooking. When the Lord glances over that pradhana, the ingredients, it becomes agitated. That material energy is called Mahat Tattva. And so when we start cooking those ingredients, that is the Mahat Tattva. So it is aggregate of the material energy in action. It is still not completely manifested. The cooking is not done yet, but in the process, that is Mahat Tattva. And Pradhana is only the dormant state.
Process.
Not exactly the process. Mahat Tattva is the full aggregate of energy. It is not completely started processing.
So
it is
not
just
yet
agitated. Yeah.
Not yet manifested.
Not yet manifested. Yes, correct.
But selected like that.
So there are
Mataji.
3 words which are used: avyakta, prakriti, and pradhana. All means maya or the material energy. But avyakta means unmanifested, and prakriti means material energy, and pradhana means that which is dormant ingredients. So that which is not manifested is pradhana, avyakta or prakriti or pradhana. And the same thing, when glanced upon by the Lord, it is called Mahat Tattva. Okay.
Can you repeat the 3, Mataji? Avyakti?
Avyakta, prakriti, and pradhana. It is there in the Adi Lila, chapter 5, text 71.
Okay.
Mataji, from Pradhana becomes the Mahat Tattva, or is it from Mahat Tattva becomes the Pradhana?
Pradhana is the Mahat Tattva. Pradhana is the dormant stage, right? Which is same as Mahat Tattva in the agitated stage. So it is the same thing in the dormant state. So Mahat Tattva and Pradhana are the same thing, that is talking about the whole totality of material energy. But Pradhana is the dormant stage where the ingredients are there, but they have not been used. They are just kept in the dormant stage. When the Lord glances over them, then it becomes to get manifested. That is Mahat Tattva. So it is just a different name given to.
So is it like Mataji, is it like so Pradhana is the unmanifested and undifferentiated form or the material elements where we can actually differentiate, okay, this is this atta, this is baking powder, this is
It is all mixed up. Yes, it is all mixed up. We cannot differentiate. Pradhana is all mixed together.
And then in Mahat Tattva we can differentiate?
Yes, exactly. That's what we heard, no? Ahankara is created. First thing is Ahankara created. So it starts to manifest slowly. That is Mahat Tattva in action.
Madhaji, we see like in every universe, there is a covering. And like in the Golok chart, Prabhupada actually mentioned there's a layering of Mahat Tattva as well.
Yes.
But if the Mahat Tattva is actually the undifferentiated one, so how does that layer, because they are like originally in the sky, those material elements, they are lying in the sky. But then how does that come into without agitation or without being agitation, they becomes the layering of the universe.
It is in a subtle form, Prabhuji. It is not in a gross form. As we see in the Goloka chart, what you are saying, the layers of the universe, they start from gross to subtle. So the outermost layer is the
Mahatattva.
Mahatattva. So that is the subtlemost. It is very, very subtle. We cannot see with our naked eyes, right? Let me share this screen. The things will be more clear. How do I make it more bigger? Are you able to see this? These layers? Is everyone able to see this black circle? That is
Mataji, yes.
the material creation. And Garbhodaka Shai Vishnu is lying down on the Garbhodaka ocean. The first layer is the earth layer. Earth, which is the grossest, very gross, right? Which we can see with our eyes. And then water, fire, air, ether, false ego, and then Mahatattva. So Mahatattva, even though it is the outermost, it is the subtlemost. It is subtle. So because it is the total material energy, it is one of the elements because it exists as the total material energy or the ingredients. Ingredients are included within that energy. It is very subtle because if we are thinking, we are talking about ahankara, which is created. Can we see ahankara with our eyes?
No, Mataji.
No, but it exists, right? So that ahankara is subtlemost, and that is why it is the last thing which goes away from the living entity. After liberation, what happens to the ahankara? As we have heard, there are two kinds of ahankara. One is false ego and one is real ego. So false ego is we identify with this material body. We think that we are this body. But after purification and after one is completely freed from the false ego, the ego does not go away. It stays with the living entity, with the jiva, with the soul. And that real ego is that I am the servant of the Supreme Lord. So that real ego is what is purified ego. So ego always exists with the soul. But when it is false ego, the real ego is covered by the layers of the ahankara, that is sattvika, rajasika, and tamasika.
Mataji, then that is in action and in knowledge. Is it that ahankara that will exhibit manifest in the form of action?
Ahankara,
and,
right?
and then
Yes.
and then realization also. That is realization.
Realization will come through the process, following the process. Yes. Yes.
Correct.
Yes, thank you, Prabhu.
Mataji, just see whether this order is correct. First comes the earth, then water, then fire, then air, then ego, false ego, and then Mahatattva.
Ether. No, after air is ether.
Ether.
Earth,
After that, ego.
water, fire, air, ether, false ego. Yeah, and then
And then
Mahatattva.
Mahatattva is everything in the inside the Mahatattva, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you, Mataji.
So we will see further how there are different kinds of pralaya, and the last pralaya is also the elimination of this false ego. So that time even the Mahatattva is eliminated. The element, the Mahatattva is crossed. The soul crosses over that also while going towards the spiritual world. So that is all explained by our acharyas very, very beautifully. Thanks to all the devotees for giving this opportunity, and thank you Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki
Chaitanya
jai.
Charitamrita
Srila
ki jai.
Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami
Kaviraj
ki jai.
Goswami ki jai.
Srila Sanatan Goswami Pad ki jai.
Ki jai.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Jagal
Thank you,
Patala
Mataji.
Kripa
Har Grace
Sindhuke.
Gopi Priya Mataji ki jai.
Hare Krishna. Hare
Thank you,
Grace
Mataji.
Sita Rani Mataji ki
Thank
jai.
you, Mataji.
No, thank you so
Thank
much.
you, Mataji.
Nice
Wonderful
explanation.
explanation. Yes. Please,
You can
we
find
want you
this
more
explanation
frequently, Mataji.
in the second canto and the third canto. More of this explanation we can find. So devotees can go through those. And even further, we will go and see in the Chaitanya Charitamrita itself. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gives lot of details and beautifully explains. So thank you all.
Please come again,
Because of
Mataji.
you, I am getting the
More
chance
sessions.
to discuss this great science.
Okay, Mataji, please come again many
Hare
times
Hare
to
Krishna.
explain.
Thanks
Okay,
for
thank you,
Please pray
Mataji.
for me that I can
Dandat
come more
Pranam.
often. Hare Krishna. Pranams.
Hare Krishna,
Thank you,
Mataji.
Mataji.
Hare
Thank you.
With your permission, I'll end the session, Mataji.
Yes, yes, Mataji.
Thank you so much.